do dogs do for those in the military? And I think that most organizations and most look for dogs that help with PTSD. And there's lots of different trained tasks for that. There's body blocking in large crowds. There's deep pressure therapy. There's quite a few different things that we can do for that. There's TBI, traumatic brain injury, that our veterans need. The issue is we're sending veterans home and providing no or little support for them. Is that what you found as well, Josh?
Yes, ma'am. So, I came in the Army in the mid-90s. So behavior health and mental illness problems weren't a big deal back then, but we also weren't in wartime. And then when it started, the Army started seeing it happen. What the Army did, I always tell people they took a roulette wheel and just spun it to figure out what meds they're going to try today. And it's like, it's hit or miss. I was on a whole bunch of different meds before I hit the one that was actually helping me out throughout my day. So, and it was a long process for me to get there. And Chris had to keep pushing me to get there. Because, like I told you before, Jeanette, there was times I was done. I was tired of it all.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, you have quite a resume with the Army. You're quite the warrior. You've experienced a lot. So tell us, so we have some background, what kind of things happened to you that got you to the point that you felt you were done?
So it's a lot of things. One, always being gone from my family. It was rough. So Chris and I have been together for 20 years, and I always make fun. We've actually only been together, married together in it for about 10. So the rest of it, I was always gone. So, your family not having you there to help with the things that normal husbands do, because of the Army, was a big deal for me. And it was just, on deployments, you see stuff that you never think you'll see. You go through stuff that you never think you'll go through. I've lost 2 soldiers. It's rough. And it gets to a point where it just starts to overwhelm you. And when you're deployed, it actually just seems like it's just a year long of people being negative constantly. And that starts to wear on you after a while, the negativity of different people. But you figure we're there trying to help people. They don't really want us there. So it's that back and forth negativity. Some people want us there, some people don't.
And you were in the Army for 24 years. I just want to go through some of your statistics. And you had 10 combat tours.
No, ma'am, 9. I have 9 combat deployments.
That's on me.
Okay.
Sorry.
And you were exposed to numerous explosions and situations resulting in severe PTSD, anxiety, depression, and TBI, traumatic brain injury.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
I've been blown up twice.
Twice. And here you are sitting here to share. Yeah, Chris, you had something to share?
So a lot of things from a family aspect. A traumatic brain injury, a lot of people associate that with an actual injury that you see blood or there requires medical attention to save a life. But a lot of people don't realize a TBI, especially from the exposure from explosions. It's called a blast concussion TBI. So basically the explosions that he's been around or have been privy to, those sound waves, shock waves go through, not from an outside. So it's an internal injury that he's had to learn how to retrain and deal with, especially when it's with frontal lobe damage. Of course, that is where your ability to decision making, controlling your anger, your emotions, things like that. And we found out last year through MRIs and things that Josh has some lesions on the front of his brain where those things are. So of course the PTSD that you experience already creates that anxiety increase, You're hyper vigilant and aware of what's going on around you to where your body will not calm down enough for you to rationally take notice of what's around you. And so those things compiled on top of each other create anger outbursts, just a lot of uncomfortableness in situations and groups and things like that. And so Josh would not venture out into public. He started to become more reclusive. And thankfully, Owen has come to help with that. And he's now been able to go out. We go out and do things. Owen is with us constantly. I'll send him to the store for things on his own, which he wouldn't normally be comfortable with. And, they have like this bro code. They go together and Owen's ultimate chip magnet. So, we just have to keep an eye on all those people approaching him. But for the most part, over the last 2 to 3 years that we've had Owen, has been a horrendous stress reliever to allow Josh to get some of his confidence back to go out and do things like that on his own.
Yeah. Helping provide mental and physical stability to our soldiers are key to what these dogs are doing. Chris, explain to me though, you and Josh have been married for how long?
For going on 21 years.
So the man you married isn't the man you sit next to now?
No, ma'am, absolutely not. His heart is still there and everything, but the way he was, his confidence and everything is totally not different. And you see different changes throughout each deployment because every experience is different and brings new things. Some worse than others, depending on where they've been deployed to. He's been to Kosovo, Bosnia, Iraq, Afghanistan, which, we always tease, unfortunately, go check on our property over there, but we really don't have any. But every time he comes back, it's always a different and new situation that we have to now add to our list of things to work through.
And that's been incredibly, oh, go ahead, Josh.
Me, after every deployment, it's weird. And I don't know, I know a lot of vets feel this way because I talk to a lot of people still, but after each deployment, you lose a part of yourself. And it's not intentionally, it's just what you get used to. And that being gone for a year and dealing with that for a year, it is just, you lose a piece of yourself. And I want to make something very clear. I'm still very confident. I am very confident. Almost to the point of arrogancy, but it is anger issues that he really helps me with. He helps me from losing it. As your husband know, as a first responder, sometimes it just gets overwhelming and people around you and walking up to you or pushing by you, and people are so rude these days. I don't get it. I was born and raised in Texas. I say ma'am, I say sir, I open the door, all those things. But he helps me from actually losing it when I go out in public, because that is one of my fears, is that happening, something happening where I just completely, either my mouth, my whatever actions run over and it gets me somewhere I don't want to be. And that's one of the other things I've seen with a lot of vets that come back with issues that don't try and get help. They're in places that they don't want to be now. And it's hard because we want to help everyone, but you can't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help myself.
Yeah, right. So let's back up a little bit. Let's back up to when, you were brought into my life. So you were feeling very lost, not feeling independent, not wanting to leave the house. So even further isolation, it wasn't enough that you were isolated out on deployments, but then you come home and you still feel isolated, even though you're surrounded by family. You had felt like, or you did lose a lot of your independence. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Wouldn't even go to the grocery store by yourself?
I don't like doing it because of the people. I just, and it's weird because, like you said, when you came into our life in 2018, we were in Hawaii, paradise. It was not paradise. It was actual hell for me the whole 3 years we were there, and it's bad. When we got Owen in 18, it actually started getting better, and it wasn't just me; it was both of us.
Yeah, he's had an incredible impact, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Not just you, but your wife, and then even other veterans. So Owen came to us as a returned adult doodle. The owner could not handle him anymore. He kept eating socks, and unfortunately, I got a phone call from the vet saying, if you'd like to have this dog back, you can pay for all the rest of the treatments. He ate another sock. The owner is relinquishing rights. So of course we swooped in and grabbed him, brought him up here. We stand by all of our dogs for the life of the dog. And this is just another story truly of both of you getting a second chance, truly. And this is what I love so much about this story. So we realized Owen's potential early on, and started training him, and realized he would be phenomenal. His size and his gentle heart and his drive, and how much he wanted to accomplish something would be great for a veteran. And back then we didn't have the Healing Hearts charity. We had the Blue Sky Buddies charity, which was built in honor of my brother, who was an Army veteran, who while he wasn't ever deployed or dealt with the extreme emotional distress, he was in the Army Golden Knights and did how many jumps did Kenny do?
Thousands.
Thousands of jumps out of the airplane, and really just tore up his body. And the Army's way of dealing with that was to give him pain pills rather than helping him. And it took him 6, 7, 8 years to even get back surgery. And then they just kept giving him pain pills, which, led one problem to another. So I've experienced firsthand and seen firsthand the lack of support, or the lack of the correct support for our veterans. And so Blue Sky Buddies was founded in honor of my brother. So we were looking for a veteran for Owen, and you guys applied, and I just absolutely loved your story. And we finalized training. He was trained to help body block people, give you some stand in between and give you not only some physical space between people, but to help you feel a little more secure, right? In your own bubble, in your own space, which is you absolutely needed. He was also trained to do deep pressure therapy. So laying on you for night tremors and what's like this big weighted blanket. And this boy is huge. You're going to have to show us him here shortly.
90 pounds.
90 pounds. Go get that boy.
He is every ounce the love bug that you can see.
And he's got a bow tie on his
Absolutely.
head.
He's wearing his bow tie for today's presentation.
He's all dressed up. He's all fancy for TV.
He really is. Actually, that bow tie was given to him by the commander that I work for, because I work for the Army still. I'm not a soldier, but I am a DA civilian. And they gifted that to him because he's a part of their family. So,
So tell me then, so we picked you, you came up and you got Owen, we sent you home. Here you go.
First plane ride.
First plane ride back to Hawaii. He was spoiled rotten. We flew first class, so we made sure he had plenty of space and comfort. And for picking him up with just within 24 hours, it's like we walked through your gates and Owen knew that this was going to be his new partner in crime, honestly. And he just like went up to him and just nudged him and got close to Josh and was just like, okay, we got work to do. Let's handle this. And without missing a beat, they just made a very quick connection, and he was amazing. And, it's like, he immediately knew what to do. As soon as we left, it was like he was checking Josh out nonstop, looking at him, like cuddling up with him. And it's like he just knew instinctively that he was there to soothe the soul and help a family. So he's been a rock star ever since.
So tell me, Josh, how has your life changed?
Oh, it's amazing. So I still have some of the issues, especially with, so big things when we're out in public. I get hyper vigilant. So I focus on certain things, and he actually, he'll bump me. He'll bump me to get me to pay attention to something else, or, hey, I'm here for you. Let me know, that type of situation. The biggest thing is nights. Nights are the hardest part for me, with sleeping. He has woken me up. He lays on me. He does the things that he's supposed to do, and it brings me those comforts. Hey, when you have 88 pounds laying on your chest in the middle of the night, it for some reason it's very relaxing to me, and he knows when I need him. Like Chris, like you guys were saying, that day one, Owen and I connected, and you told me that as soon as I walked through the gate and he was out there, him and I connected, and it's just been great for me ever since. The only thing that I hate now is that I have my own business, and I work out of our garage, and I can't take him out there because it's a lot of woodwork. So that's where we turned around and let Chris work with the soldiers. And once again, you told me that first day, this is not a me thing. It's a team. It's us, all three of us, and all three of us have to work together. So those are the things that we figured out.
So tell me, Chris, what he does for you now. You take him to work and he helps other soldiers. Tell me what you've experienced with that.
Well, I found that the people I work with care more about him than me.
It was that way when I used to take him in too.
But from day one, the commander I worked with was like adamant, please, yes, bring him. We'll see how it goes. And Owen, I take him in. He gets excited when we get into the parking lot. He just prances in like he knows what he's doing. He rides in an elevator. He does great. We walk through the doors and immediately everybody lights up when they see him. They love him. He is the official 1st Space Brigade facility dog, honestly, right now. I take him in. He has a cushy spot under my desk. And whenever anybody comes in, they ask and I let him out and he goes and leans on them. He will cuddle with them. And it just brings their morale up, especially in today's time with the pandemic and everything. So we do our morning walk through the whole office, and he gravitates towards a few of our guys who have seen some things. One gentleman actually lost his wife to breast cancer a couple years ago, and he just goes into this guy's cubicle and just lays his head on his lap and looks at him and just lets him pet him while he's doing whatever. And then Owen will move on to the next guy or person. He has made a huge impact. And even though we've changed out commanders, the new commander wholeheartedly supports. In fact, he's a doodle owner himself. So he's like, please bring him in. I can't wait to see him. He sits in meetings and just lays out, and just having him present, you can see everybody's morale change. Their shoulders drop. They have a look of relaxation. They spend their 2 minutes cuddling and playing with him, and then they move on. And it seems like work productivity goes up a bit because people are more calm in their environment. Stress is crazy, but he just alleviates that. So where I work, they love him, and they'll take 5 minutes out of their day, come in, play with him, pet him, love on him, and walk out. And then the rest of their day seems to be 10 times better.
So tell me, Chris, it's not very common to have a service dog, then become a facility dog, and then still function as a service dog. I mean, this dog is truly incredible. And to think that he was a returned naughty doodle that was out of control and they did not want anymore. And it just goes to show that we have to listen to our dogs and make sure they're serving their purpose. But tell me, Chris, you've seen what this dog has done for your husband. Now you've seen what this dog does to your workplace and other soldiers. What does this dog mean to you?
Owen's my best friend. He is my Velcro dog. I think because my role before we got Owen was basically everything Owen's doing for Josh. That was my job. I would be the one to remove him from situations. I would preemptively see things. I also have PTSD from past trauma, and he helps me. I will be overwhelmed, and it's like he just comes to me and puts his head on me, and he helps me as well. But he has also taken on that role for me to let go of some of the added stress that Josh has in his life that I take on. So, and don't get me wrong, Owen does have the ability to be a naughty dog when he's not invested, because he's still a dog. He is still a puppy at heart. He is just like any other dog. He will counter surf if we're not paying attention, or if we leave something in sight. I'm just like, he's a carbaholic. He loves bread, and that's exactly what he steals. But for the most part, he does not. He is great. His personality, it just meshes with ours, and it's like he's so in tune with us. If I'm upset, he's finding me. He can sense that, and he helps to alleviate a lot of that. He is just an absolute joy and comfort to have around. He is our huge couch potato.
But the funny thing is he knows, and I've never seen anything like it. He knows when he puts that vest on, he's got to function in life, and he knows what it is. And it's weird that day one, him and I connected. The first times I took him into work, you could see the people that he went to was the people that really needed him at that time or that moment. And he just offered that relaxation to that individual or individuals. And it's awesome. I've never honestly in my life, and I don't know if it's like you said, because you gave both of us a second chance, but he knows that vest goes on, and it's time to do my thing.
Tell me, Josh, what this dog means to you, what the relief it's been for your marriage. Now he's helped you, and now you are passing him on to let him go to work and help other soldiers, and then to come home and work for you. What does this dog mean to you?
This is going to be hard for me. He's my world. He frustrates me, but at the same time, I love him to death. He has changed my mind, and he continues to change my mind when I have those thoughts, and he knows. And if I get into that mood, even if he's not invested, he will paw at me. He will do anything he can to get me to work with him. And it's just, that guy is my world right now. He is honestly my best friend in this world, and it's hard to, I don't even know if I can honestly say what you have done for me and my family in words with him. You honestly gave us both a second chance, and it's helped, and it continues to help daily. You have a forever heart, or a forever place in my heart because of him. He is, lack of better words, he's my other rock. When this one's not around, he's my other rock. He's my go-to. He knows. And that's why we wanted him and try and make him into a facility dog, because sometimes I get jealous.
Owen's
my man's working for somebody else. That's my boy. But at the same time, I was a soldier so long and a leader that I know people need that. So I let him do that. Not only for me, but not only for my family, but for him. He has gone into, since I retired and started working for myself, you can see it. He's kind of he tailspinned a little bit.
He gets a little jealous
Yeah.
or a little depressed.
He's not working, so it's not, he doesn't like it. And it's weird. I've never seen anything like it. When he works, he loves it. When he's not working, sometimes he's just miserable. So that's when Chris and I made that decision to, hey, he needs to start going with you and being around soldiers again. And he did, and he loves it. And every time I go in there and he's there, everybody just, you can see the difference.
He found his true calling.
Yeah, he did. He
He
honestly
really has.
did.
Yeah. He's great.
Josh, what would you say to other veterans, active or not, not active? The suicide rate is estimated 1 in 65 minutes we're losing a veteran.
22 a day.
If they're listening, if they're watching, what would you tell them?
Reach out and get help. I honestly think, had it not been for my wife pushing me, I don't think I would have ever asked for help, and I don't know where I would be today. And if you're a family member and you know it, you've got to push. I mean, a lot of people are like, I want to be your friend and I don't want to rub you the wrong way. Rub those people the wrong way. You've got to get people help. We just lost another one here out of my old unit to suicide 2 weeks ago. And he was a young kid. And it's not fair. It's not right. You've got to learn how to look at these people and help them. Don't think you're just alone. And also, I know other people. Yeah, I have a family, but you also have to look at the people you call your friends. Are you talking to them? Are you making those hard decisions? Are you pushing them to better themselves? A lot of us don't do that anymore.
But with Owen, also where that's concerned, it's like no words have to actually be spoken for that kind of a feeling or situation. It's like he intuitively knows when somebody needs him the most. And thinking about a family member, especially where Josh is concerned, I can't tell you how much it hurts my heart to know that I could have possibly lost my husband one day because of the crud he's seen or the things he's been exposed to. But I can't even begin to think about where our lives would have been if Owen hadn't come in and taken over a lot of that. Because as a spouse, we can harp on our spouses, please talk to me, please talk to me, please talk to me. But at the same time, they don't want to say anything truthfully or otherwise because they don't want to worry us. They don't want to scare us. They don't want to be thought of as less than a person because their mind is not working with them. But at the same time, sometimes words don't need to be spoken. They just need that sense of comfort and calmness. And it breaks my heart of how many suicides are happening on the daily for soldiers or otherwise. They serve our country. They choose to serve our country, and they're suffering in silence, and that's not fair to them or their family or others around them. And just to give them that sense of hope and knowing that somebody is there for them without judgment for having those feelings makes a huge difference and heals hearts and heals minds, and that's what he's done for not only Josh, but for me and my family.
Jeanette, I just want to let you know, before Owen, I did try. And like I said, I know from that aspect, sometimes you just gotta, if you're my friend, be hard on me, be direct with me. Don't sugarcoat stuff. Don't do those type of things. A lot of us just want the directness and say, hey, I was actually given an ultimatum when I actually went and got help when I was at Fort Hood. It was go get help or we're done. I would lose my wife, my daughter, everything. And I finally broke down and went and got help. And it sucks. I can tell you firsthand, going through the VA or through, if you're active duty still, going through your docs, when you go from duty station to duty station and you have to start over with a new provider, it sucks. You don't want to do it. So what's the easy way out? I don't want to talk about the hard stuff anymore. The easy way out is to either actually do it, bury it. So when you get older, it's just going to come up again, because I've had that a lot happen to me lately. But I had my wife who pushed me and actually gave me that ultimatum, which was sad that it had to come to that on my part, but it gave me a realization that I had definitely lost myself. And it never stopped. Your husband is the first responder. You guys kind of go through and know the things that we're talking about as far as, yes, I've had 9 combat deployments. My wife does not know about any of them as far as what happened on them and everything like that. And that's why I say I have those things that get buried sometimes come back and bite you in the ass. And that's what's happening to me right now.
How do you think the Army can improve to help?
The Army's made milestones. It really has. They're actually using outside providers now for behavioral health. But once again, it still goes back to a stigma we have, especially if you're making the Army your career. There's a stigma is, if I go to behavioral health, hey, I will never get promoted. I'll be labeled as this, that, or whatever. And it's a lot of seniors, a lot of the older guys that have been in for a while are still refusing to do it. I did for years, for almost 14 years. I didn't get help. I had 3-4 deployments under my belt before I realized my wife is right and I need to go before I totally ruin everything. So it's that type of situation, and the Army's getting better as far as, okay, recognizing or saying, hey, let's go get an MRI done for head injuries, for concussion protocol, all those things. And I went 24 years before I got diagnosed with frontal lobe lesions. I didn't find out until I was ready to get out. And the bad thing is, the whole time I was in, I kind of wouldn't go and get help as far as medical or anything like that. Another sign of weakness. And I just refused it. But my last year for retirement opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I could have got help with this a long time ago, and I didn't. And I ask people to stop doing that and get help now and don't wait.
We've become very big advocates for mental health. I have things that we've gone through that, I push for him to talk to somebody other than me. So it helps. But according to your question, the Army has made some big milestone jumps to advocate for behavioral health, mental health, making sure people are kind of put together, mind, body, and soul. We do have our chaplain corps. It's not so much even that it's a religious thing, but they're there as a point of contact to talk. And a lot of our chaplains in the Army now are utilizing service dogs, because that's like a way to get people in the door, and having the dog there provides that sense of comfort. And once they start relaxing,
It makes people talk.
it makes people talk. Also with And one of the things that we did use Owen for is the Army does have a SHARP program, the sexual assault and harassment program, that they are on top of right now and making huge miles and changes to their program. But when a victim comes in to report, Owen has been there I have loaned him to them to help the victim feel more comfortable with talking about their situation. And so that helps as well. So there's a lot of different moving pieces that the Army is trying to now come together. And I think we're going to see a whole lot more allowance for either service or a facility type dog in the workplace to assist with those hard situations to help people feel at ease.
And that wheel's gotten smaller with trying to figure out what medications are right to work with what people. It does still happen. I'm sure sometimes in the civilian world it still happens, but the one thing about the Army is you always have those people who try to circumvent the system and get put on medications so they can get out or whatever. So the Army has really come a long ways with making that wheel smaller on what medications they're going to give you.
All right. It just, once again, the power of a dog is so real, and you guys have experienced it on so many different levels, personally, within your marriage, within your family, now sharing him and seeing what it's doing for others. Just a recap for those that have joined us later on, talking about service dogs for veterans, many, many different ways in which they can help. Of course, there's PTSD, there's TBI, there's MSA, military sexual assault. Then there's also mobility assistance, either wheelchair, amputee, or anything like that. So they're being trained to counterbalance and pick up items, as well as emotional support. I think across the board, they are a huge benefit for emotional health and stability. Our goal and what we want for our men and women coming back from serving, for our freedom, for making these compromises in your life. I mean, you've literally donated your life for our freedom, on which I cannot thank you enough. So thank you so much for serving. Thank you so much for your sacrifice, truly. I think too often we forget what our soldiers are faced with the isolation and war, and coming home, and marriages fall apart, and all of the bad things. And we're here sitting free as can be with very little worry about our safety. So what a solid reminder of the sacrifice that our military men and women are doing for our freedom. I cannot thank you enough. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to be a part of your life, and for accepting Owen as a part of your family, and letting him serve his purpose as well. Giving him a voice and honoring him, even when it was difficult to say, hey, he needs to work. Chris, why don't you take him to work? I mean, what a tribute, what an honor to him as well.
But Jeanette, you told me, we had a one-on-one conversation, and you told me, he's not just mine. He doesn't just work for me. And you told me that on day one, and I've never forgot that. There's been times when I told Chris he's mine, but
This is my heart, baby. He is my heart 100%. And I honestly do not have a darn clue of what our life was like without him. I can't even begin to think about it. And we've only had him for less than 3 years. So he's amazing. And then we add another little one who
he's giving you a run for your money.
Oh my gosh. He is a hot mess, but I love him. He's smart. He's learning from Owen. And he's going to be amazing. He has a purpose in life too, just like all your puppies. And it's just a matter of waiting it out to see what it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for honoring our dogs as well. I can't thank you enough for giving him his second chance. Did you want to add anything? I'm quiet and emotional over here.
Oh, I'm so, yeah, it's a very sensitive subject, but you know, thank you. All I can say is thank you for trusting us with him. Thank you for opening up your heart to us and for what you do. Your babies, your puppies, your mama dogs, your everybody, the folks that work with you, they're a special group, top notch, and we're very blessed to have you all in our life.
Yeah, thank you. A special shout out to Megan, who trained Owen for you. She did just a fantastic job for us. So, again, the healing power of a dog. I'm Jeanette with 40 Kennels. We're not only changing breeding from bad to badass, but we are healing hearts and changing lives. Truly, he has done both for you through the power of a dog. Both changed your heart and saved your life, literally.
Yes, ma'am.
We're so thankful you're here, Josh. Thank you. Thank you for defying those odds. Thank you for continuing to help other soldiers. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for sharing your story. Truly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeanette. And I
have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Never thank you enough.
Thank you for fighting for our freedom. Truly. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us for the Friday show and getting all emotional this weekend with us, right?
Yeah, you are.
You are too. You're all weepy. We all are.
Sorry.
All right, bye, everybody.